very nearly about the sailing November 2023. I said this was going to be a short one because I haven't done an awful lot this month. I had an emergency order in to make this, which is a Hedgehog House. It's got a clip at the back, and you open it up, you put some hay, straw, bits and pieces in there. It's got a little tunnel with a slopey bit on it so that the rain doesn't get in. You didn't have to put this on the top, but I put some. And what I wanted to do, so I used it partly because because a hedgehog needs it. This is on Airbnb, by the way, and it's rented out for the whole of the winter, so don't even see if you can get hold of that. And I wanted to check out using dowels. So all we're going to do here, I'm not going to show you how I made that. I will link to the plans, which are from the Naturehead Earthwatch thing. So it's very, very easy to make, and they say it's the sort of thing you can screw it together. But I wanted to test out. I've got a dowel jig that I've never used, and so I will quickly show how I've done that. But apart from that, there really isn't very much content this month for reasons that I kind of said last month. I'm on a new drug regime and I'm slowly increasing the medication, and yeah, whether it's working or not we'll find out next year. But yeah, I think there's going to be a hedgehog that's going to look at this and think, wow, this is incredible, best place I've ever lived in. Anyway, let's just get on with it and show a few bits and pieces of how I did with it. Oh, the other thing I've been doing is a lot of piano work, cleaning the strings, because I showed before I was cleaning the strings, the bass strings, with soda blasting, and it really didn't work. In fact, it made them worse. So I've done a little bit of that as well. But yeah, let's have a look at the dowels, and then that's really it for the month. Alright, so this is a hedgehog house I'm building. Looks like that. And it's just got, so what I've done, I'm experimenting with this. What I've done is I've actually cut the piece of wood out to size, and I'm just using plywood. And then I want to glue these together and use dowels, and I want to test out a dowel jig. That's not even a word. A dowel jig. And I've done it. This is very rough already. This is the tunnel, the entrance bit to it, and I've kind of put the dowels in simply to do the glue up, and it's nice. It's come out nice and square, and it's very basic. But so I'm not going to bore you with how to make a hedgehog house. I will put the link to these people. This is some sort of this is really easy. This is, and they say this is a sort of job you can do with your children or grandchildren or whatever, and you can just screw it together. It's very basic, and this is the time of the year that hedgehogs need houses. So go out and make one of these. Leave a thing in the comment and tell me if you've actually had any, if you've made one, if you've actually had any hedgehogs who've moved in. But I'm not going to show you how I'm doing this because it's really basic stuff. As I say, I've already cut out all the pieces on the table saw, and now I'm just going to just give a quick demo of how the doweling jig works, because it's really quite simple, but it's quite effective. Right, like with everything, there is a learning curve, and I did something slightly wrong on this first one. You can see there's a dowel there. I actually clamped it the wrong way around, and it turned out looking sort of S-shaped rather than this way. Right, so purely for illustrative purposes, if you get it the wrong way round, and of course I did this deliberately, you'll end up with that bit going the wrong way, because it's not in the centre. Some of the posh jigs, they do actually make sure, or not even the posh ones, the homemade ones, they make sure it's in the centre. What this does is make sure it's the same from the edge. So I will pretend that I did this deliberately just to illustrate what you shouldn't do, and if you do make a mistake like this, don't video it and put it on YouTube. That would be my advice. What twit I can be, never mind. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show it clamped up before I do the dowels in, and then I'll show you the slightly weird thing that you have to get your head around. It's almost impossible to describe, but you need to get it right because of the way that that the holes are drilled in, and they're not drilled into the centre. It's not one of these self-centering type things. So on this side we've got these two clamps. This one is simply to hold it steady. This one is the actual business, and you've got three different sets of holes. You've got an 8mm, which I'm going to use, a 10 and a 6, and they're for different things. I'm going to use this one and this one, and they're all nicely lined up and they're exactly the same distance from the edge, but they're not. It's not an obvious edge. This will make more sense when I do it. Let's actually drill the holes, then I'll show you how to get this out of here and how it works. So this is simply a question. I've got a stopper thing on here. I've got an 8mm drill bit, and you just drill the holes. This one that I'm doing on the end piece, I will have to actually make that slightly deeper, but I can't be bothered to set this 2 different ways. Let's do this one first. Sorry, this one. Let's do the right one, shall we? Yes, it's this one that we're going to do. Or you could spend £850 and buy yourself a Festool domino machine. This jig was less than £20 from what I remember. Oh, battery going. I'm going to need to charge this up, but you'll have seen on this channel before, I've used these little things before. I've used putting the sticky tape on the wrong way around and so on, and that all works, but this is slightly more accurate, and for this type of work this is perfect. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to move that from here to the other end, because I'm only going to put 2 dowels in. This is literally just to hold things in place. Oh, the other thing, line everything up, clamp everything down tightly, line everything up so that these holes, when they are actually all lining up properly. So all I'm doing is literally moving that from one side to the other side. I shall get a new drill with a battery in it, and I think that's about 2.5 inches. That's about 2 inches. So what I need to do is to move this so that hole doesn't have to line up exactly. It's about 2 inches there. So make sure everything's clamped up, touched nicely, and everything's touching what it should touch. And I will go and find another drill at this point. Right, I have cheated slightly because I have just done this side and I've clamped that back over there. What you'll see from here is that the hole is not in the centre. This isn't one of these posh jigs that self-centers, and I think I might actually get one of those. You just choose what size based on roughly the best place, and it said for this size of wood, which is 18mm, that the 8mm was about right. These holes are at different distances from here. Maybe the 10 would have been slightly better, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, because it's not in the centre, you have to match the right one up with the right one, with the correct one. So there's a bit of a palaver, and I found you really need to mark this up properly. So let's take this centre one off first. This is just to hold it steady, and normally what you would tend to do, or I've seen them doing the instructions, is to kind of have this at the end to keep it steady, but I just put it in the middle so I wouldn't have to change it when I move this from side to side. So when I take this off, so I'm unclamping the back bit, which is holding this top board on, and I'm unclamping this bottom bit. Right, so this is the way that it was held. What happens is then to actually clamp this up. This bottom bit kind of flips upside down. That completely threw me when I did it the first time. It's so, I can't really explain this properly on video, but you need to get these holes lined up, otherwise it doesn't work. But when it does work, it works really, really well. Look at that. That's not bad. Can you see that? That's all right. That's as good as I need for a, I was going to say hamster house. It's not a hamster house. It's a hedgehog house. It's not brilliant, and I probably will not use this very much. But if you want cheap and cheerful, £840 cheaper than a Fez tool, that's not bad. Right. Anyway, the next time you see this is when it's all together. Right, so I'm not really going to do a review on this. I found the box. It is the Clark Universal Doweling Jig Set, and with VAT it's priced at £20.39, and I think that's good value for money. It comes with instructions, which I've lost, but you can do things like, as well as the way that I was using it, which was to use this clamp this way round, you can also put the clamp in here, which means that if you're doing edge to edge boards, have I got a couple of boards I can use? Not the ideal example because you wouldn't do it with this type of wood, but what you can do is you can put these in here. Clamp them up, obviously with this as well, and then you can simply drill through these holes, and then when you kind of fold it back together you've got perfectly aligned holes. And there is another way of actually setting it up so you can clamp something like that, and that's to do with somehow or other lining these things up. I won't go into that because I haven't done it, but anyway, so yeah, £20, that's not bad. I will probably get a better one. I'll probably get something or make something so I can do dowels in the centre, but yeah, I've seen better versions of this, by the way. I've seen some, there's a brand in America which I can't remember what it's called, but if you look for doweling jigs you'll see something that looks very much like this, which I think is a lot more expensive, but for cheapness, practicality and the fact that it worked, it's fine. So here we are, there's a nice hedgerow over here, and just needs a little bit of hay in that, and I think that will be a nice little place for a hedgehog to go. Actually, I'm going to move it back a little bit. There we go. Desirez Hedgehog House. Very easy to make. I will put the link to the website with the plans below, and have fun and let me know if you make one. Let me know if you get a hedgehog, and I'll wait until the spring or whenever they've stopped hibernating and tell you if we've had one in there. See you next month. Right, so not finished yet. I was just editing this and I thought, you know what, I better check that the hedgehog is available in other countries, and I've discovered that no, in the USA, Canada, etc., you don't have hedgehogs. So I've got a little clip running up here and I'll link a video below. They're the cutest little creatures. They're about the size of, they're like a little bundle of fluff, except they're prickly. They're not porcupines in the slightest. They are very, very cute. They're very friendly, and they are in chronic decline in the UK, partly because of the way that people organise their gardens, because they like hopping from garden to garden, which they need to do to forage for the things that they eat. But anyway, I'll link below a video of, and they are nocturnal, so the The hedgehogs that you see in the video, they're from a rescue centre, which is why you can see them in the daytime. They are nocturnal animals. So anyway, so on that note, here's a mystery creature. Yeah, build yourself a hedgehog house if you're in the UK. If you're in America or Canada, don't build yourself ones, because I don't know what creature you'll get in there, but it won't be a hedgehog. Right, as I said, see you next month.